morning, Steve.
Good morning.
So nice to have you with us today.
Good morning, Bess. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
No, it's a pleasure. Steve Kliegerman, who is the president of our new development division and has been with the company for 22 years, which is unbelievable. But Steve, how did you actually get started when you joined Terra, Halstead, initially at first?
So I had had my own company for about 10 years down on Union Square, specializing mostly downtown and in new development. And one day Clark Halstead approached me and asked me if I wanted to take on a larger role for Halstead by taking over their downtown divisions and expanding them and build a new development division at the same time. And I happily agreed.
And so how long did you work in the resale? I mean, you built it. A lot of people don't know. I think it'd be great to share with everyone who's watching. You built the resale downtown business for Halstead many years ago.
I did. I joined in 1989, and originally I was going to be opening a new Greenwich Village office for the company. 2 days before I was supposed to start, Clark called me up and said, we've had a little change in plan. Michael Goldenberg, who was running our Soho office at the time, was asked to move up to the Upper West Side office to fill a vacancy in the management of that office. And Clark asked me if I wanted to take over both the Soho office and build a new development division and a bigger office in the Village all at the same time. And I said, Clark, I've only ever managed 14 people in my entire life, but if you're game, I'm game. And from there, we embarked on a great journey of building a new downtown office in the Village on 10th Street at that time in Broadway. We had a small satellite office there of a couple of rental agents. We initially recruited 40 agents, built that office up to 100 agents.
Wow.
And we also had the Soho office as well with 28 agents. So we built downtown from about 30 agents to 100 and almost 40 agents within the 5 years that I was running downtown before we acquired Heron Management, where Richard Grossman was working, and they brought Richard in originally actually to head up the new development division because I was so active in downtown. Richard and I quickly realized that our roles should be reversed, that I had a knack for new development and he really didn't have a passion for it. So he took over the downtown management of the Village office in Soho, and I then continued to build our new development division, but still stayed very active in the market in general and very active in Rebney. It was hard to move on from that, but I still have great relationships and had great relationships with all the brokers downtown for years, and still kept a lot of my contacts and obviously talking to brokers and helping them out with deals from time to time, even though Richard and Sarah were there full time.
Yeah, so you have such deep roots in this company, and so many agents know you, and now you have this huge reach with developers as well. Talk to us a little bit about how you were in resale, you built the downtown, and then you transitioned into an incredibly strong new development division and built that. Talk to us a little bit about the new development division.
So our new development division literally started with myself and one marketing person in the basement of the old Village office. But we quickly started talking to developers about their needs and about how our competitors did things versus our vision, which was a lot more, I believe, collaborative, a lot more forward thinking, trying to bring new amenities and new ideas to new development. Louise Sunshine was a great innovator in our industry, but kind of everyone started copying her model, and we wanted to create our own model. We wanted to create also a more inclusive model with the brokers working with new development, where for many of our competitors, once you bring in a new development, it kind of gets torn away from you and you get a check at the end. We wanted to create a new development division where the brokers actually learned from the new development experience. They added to their resume and education, so we wanted to embrace the brokers and make sure that they felt included in the process from day one. So we had brokers come to architectural meetings, planning meetings, marketing meetings, when they had a client that they were bringing into the fold, so that they always kept the client relationship, and we were here in service and in support of them versus in competition with them.
I mean, I love that collaborative model, and I think, you know, I was a long time ago worked at corporate, and I remember a lot of angst and a lot of reasons why agents departed was because they felt there was sort of this wall up where they couldn't penetrate the new development division. Even if they had clients, they were asked to give, you know, refer it, get some money, and stay out of it.
Right.
But the way that you have it set up, there's so many of our agents. I was with one on Friday, was telling me he's going to be working with you on a project that feel that they can learn, they can add, they can become, you know, new students of this new development division. And I think that's really nice to offer that to agents in an environment that's so competitive and so protective of proprietary information. So let's talk a little bit about the actual new development market today. Here we are. We're in the, I don't want to say we're done with the pandemic because we still are very sensitive and careful. We all are still wearing masks as we walk around, but we're in a different place than we were during the pandemic and prior to the pandemic. So today, post-pandemic sort of disaster where the market has been thriving, where are we with the new development market in New York City today?
We're in a really good place, probably a better place than we've been in the last 5 years actually in new development. From an inventory point of view, inventory is down about 8% from 2019, wow, which is incredible because we actually added units even during the pandemic. So the fact that we're below the 2019 inventory numbers is incredible. We've seen a 111% increase in contract activity in the third quarter of 2021 over the third quarter of 2019. And as we know, wow, you know, towards the end of 2019, the overall real estate market in Manhattan was actually starting to do better.
Right.
So we were trending into a good place in the first couple of months of 2020 until the pandemic started.
Yeah.
So we're in a really good place. We're on track right now to have a record year in new development sales in Manhattan. We're averaging over 150 new development sales per month in Manhattan. And that's just unbelievable. So even product that was lingering on the market pre-pandemic is actually now selling, which is terrific because what hurts the market the most are projects that linger for years and years and years, and that inventory just sits there. So it's like good inventory falling on top of bad inventory, and then the numbers continue to climb. What we're seeing now is this incredible decline in inventory and not a lot of new permits behind it. So, wow, you know, we're at about I think a little less than 5 years of inventory now, where we were like at 7 or 8 2 years ago. So we're trending in a great direction. There was a lot of pent-up demand, obviously, from 2020. A lot of wealth has been built in the last 18 months. I know that's hard to talk about when you're talking about a pandemic, but it is a fact.
No, a lot of people made enormous amounts of money during the pandemic. I mean, a lot of people suffered or still suffering. As I walked here this morning, you know, I saw there's plenty of people that aren't eating or struggling, don't have homes. On the other side of that are people who made so much money and are spending it.
And they're spending it. And the suburban market also had a great boom from COVID. So all of those empty nesters that couldn't sell their suburban homes for years, or at least couldn't sell them at the prices that they wanted, have been able to sell them. A lot of them are moving into Manhattan, and a lot of them are helping their adult children, ages, let's say, 23 to 35, purchase their first or second home. We see a huge influx of buyers from the healthcare industry, which is really benefiting a lot of our East Side projects in particular because of all the hospitals on the East Side. We see a lot of parents who are buying for their children, but they expect in a few years the child will move out of that and they'll either move into it or use it as a pied-à-terre. And the foreign buyers starting to come back as well. We're starting to see investor buyers come back. We've seen an uptick in studio sales the last couple of months that we didn't see the first 2 quarters of 21. A lot of the foreign buyers are also looking to strive a little bit higher in price point than they did before. There's a lot of flight to quality right now. And you know, everybody tried to put another nail in New York City's coffin when COVID began and people supposedly fled New York. People are coming back in droves, and they're coming back and buying bigger, more expensive homes. As we see in the $4 million and up market, every single week we're breaking a record for contracts signed. 47 this week.
Yeah, that was just crazy. So when the borders actually open up and people can come, because you remember that narrative here where all these international buyers were buying in New York City, and that's dried up. I mean, there's some of it, but it's the exception. Do you foresee, I mean, nobody has a crystal ball, but do you foresee that the market will be even more fluid, even busier once we see the people coming from all different places around the world to spend money?
I think you will. I think there'll be a continued flight to quality. I think the $1 to $3 million market, which already has seen, I think, an 111% increase in growth from 2019 third quarter in new development sales, will truly thrive. And then there's always the trophy properties as well, which are being scooped up. And we've seen so many high-priced properties trade over the last 12 months. I think it will. I actually hope it's a little more controlled than it was in prior boom markets, because what it did is it drove the market up and it pushed the domestic buyer away.
Yeah.
We want that domestic buyer to stay. We want the international buyer to scoop up the inventory in between. You know, the interesting thing also is that international buyer used to only be hyper-focused on Manhattan. Now they will also look in Brooklyn, they'll look in parts of Queens. So, you know, the other markets that we service as well benefit from that, you know, as well, which is great. But the core market is Manhattan, and it's really Midtown Manhattan.
Yep. So what do you foresee as far as very expensive price per square foot? Let's say over $5,000 price per square foot. Do you see that market busy? Do you see it slowing? What do you think of the ultra luxury market in new development?
So the ultra luxury market in new development really depends on location and views. It's all about those two. So we have a project at 200 Amsterdam which has both. It has a great Upper West Side location, it's in the Lincoln Square area, and it has tremendous views. And we've done incredibly well with that project. We're averaging 1 to 2 contracts a week.
I see that.
You
So
know,
great.
and the buyers are excited, you know, about the product. Some of the developments on 57th Street obviously are starting to do better as well. 111 West 57th Street, which has been around for a while, we're starting to see contract activity there. Central Park Tower, we're seeing contract activity there, and it's high price, $5,000 and up product, but it has to have the most spectacular views and tremendous finishes and great amenities and great service. Buyers will not accept a subpar level of service in those buildings. But we see the buyers coming, and they're coming from all over the place. And one of the interesting things about this marketplace is because of climate change, we see a lot of West Coasters fleeing to the East Coast out of California, Washington, Oregon. And those, they're coming out of big jobs, and they're taking big jobs here in New York, and they want expensive, high-priced, well-appointed apartments.
So what is the amenity that everybody wants today? Is there something new that we don't know about, or is it the typical?
You know, first of all, the interesting thing is the swimming pool is back. And for years, the swimming pool was out, right? It was expensive to maintain. It was expensive to staff. So the swimming pool is definitely back. And at 200, we have a saline pool that people are really excited about. I would say that the kind of newest amenity, which isn't quite new, but it's been innovated, is on-demand health and wellness services. So not everyone needs their trainer to come into the building anymore, particularly with COVID, but things like Mirror and obviously Peloton are being taken to the next level. Sports simulators, but really good sports simulators, like like that the PGA uses. That quality of golf simulator, soccer simulator, baseball simulator. People are really enjoying that. Treatment rooms. People want to be in a private setting. They don't always, during COVID, they don't always want to be with other people. They want to get a facial in the building. Buildings are now putting in treatment rooms. And of course, out of COVID came the video conference room. So the business center has now been cut up into basically phone booths where people can conduct Zooms or video conferences, and it used to be that a building might have one of them. Now they might have 3, 4, or 5 of them because they're so busy. And then last but not least, parking.
Yep, parking's a big one.
Parking's a big one, and not every building in Manhattan can have parking. It's not under developers' control. A lot of times it's under the Department of Transportation's control. But since COVID, everyone has a car. And so parking has become in great demand, and I've been told by friends of mine that parking in their buildings has gone from like $400 or $500 a month to $7,000 to $1,000 a month,
Lord,
because it's in such high demand.
That's inflation.
Yeah.
So, Steve, as of late, you have been transitioning a little bit into helping us in our downtown offices. So, you know, that's been wonderful. I've gotten great feedback from the agents who love working with you. How does it, so you're kind of wearing two hats right now? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's fun, actually. I've worn up to 3 or 4 hats. So, yes, I've been helping out with our downtown offices with Sarah Rotter, who's amazing. You know,
Miss Sunshine, we call her.
She is.
She's
you
a
know,
ray of
talking to
sunshine.
the brokers, helping them troubleshoot, you know, deals that they have. We had a great sales meeting in the Village office last week, and then one at the 135th office. And you know, I think it's actually been a surprisingly easy transition back. A lot of the brokers are brokers that I helped recruit or help work with, you know, as we were making the transition with Richard years ago. So I know a lot of them, and those that I didn't know yet, I'm getting to know. I'm having meetings with them. They've been incredibly welcoming, incredibly supportive, and I'm really enjoying kind of wearing both hats, because it's fun to troubleshoot deals. I love working with the brokers. I love helping people grow and expand their business. My entire business career has really been about helping others attain their goals, and I feel like when I help them attain their goals, it also helps me.
That's right.
So it's been really, really great. You know, Sarah and I talk every morning. We talk every afternoon if we don't see each other. You know, I had a broker call me this morning saying, hey, I had a client who made a crazy markup of one of our exclusives. Can you take a look at it? So I quickly looked at it before we started filming today. I shot Sarah some comments, and after the taping, we'll finish it up. But so far, it's been so good. And I've based myself more out of the Village office as of late as well. So I'm there almost every day when I'm not, you know, off either talking to a developer or shooting the line. But
the lead.
The
the
lead,
line
I'm
is
sorry. The lead.
First of all, I'm offended because you confused me with Greg Hahn.
I did.
I love you, Greg, but we do very different things.
The lead. That's very funny.
So, Steve, just let's switch gears a little bit. What inspires you? What gets you in the zone? What is your bliss?
I mean, work-wise, what inspires me, as I said, is really helping other people attain their goals and plan and achieve and overachieve. I really enjoy working with people to help get them out of their comfort zone and help them to expand their business. And I really love the art of the sale as well. You know, I love pitching. I love negotiating. I like helping others, you know, figure out what the best way to negotiate a deal is so that everyone comes out on top. So those are things that really excite me. New opportunities excite me. I get really excited. We have a pitch this Thursday. You spoke to a broker that we're working with on. I'm super excited about that. We just planned a preparation meeting for tomorrow morning so that we make sure everybody's aligned. You know, on a personal level, I'm an adrenaline junkie. You know, I love sports. I love scuba diving.
Triathlete?
I've been a triathlete. I've run a number of sprint triathlons. I've jumped out of an airplane. You know, I love hiking and biking. I love to be outside. So, and which is great because in our business, you get to be outside a lot, either going to clients or seeing property. So that also excites me and kind of drives my adrenaline rush.
Love that. Do you have a mentor or mentors or people you look up to?
I've had a number of mentors over the years. You know, when I first started in business, I had a business coach and a mentor, a friend of mine, Dean Greenberg, who really helped me understand how to manage the anxiety of running a business and the anxiety of always trying to be right about the decisions you make. And one of the things he taught me early on is, you know, you can't spend all of your time making the right decisions. Sometimes you have to spend your time making your decisions right. And I like that because people stress over, you know, do I go left or do I go right? What do I say? Did I say the wrong thing? And you can't always stress about that. You know, certainly, you know, Clark Halstead, when he took me under his wing and said, hey, you want to come over and, you know, run this big organization for me downtown, he was a great mentor and helped me a lot in my business. You know, I've learned a lot from almost every manager in our company, you know, whether it be Hall or yourself or Kevin. You know, it's a collaborative effort. So I feel like I've had a lot of mentors over the years, and I've been really fortunate to work with really great people. And by the way, sometimes our mentors are people that report to you or report to me, right? They're agents that I work with. Richard Ornstein's been a huge influence on my life.
Yeah.
I've known Richard forever, and he brings such a calm to
he
the
does.
situation.
He's very zen.
Yeah.
He's very, very zen and
calm.
calm.
So people like Richard, I've learned a lot from over the years. Our office manager downtown, Maida, who I've known for 22 years, I've learned a lot from her about how to run an office and how to run a staff. So I've had a lot of mentors over the years, and I've, like I said, I've been really fortunate to work with great people, and really fortunate actually not to work with very many people that I didn't enjoy working with.
I like your philosophy so much because I think it's true that you can learn something from everyone, and I don't think the hierarchy really matters. I think there's something to be learned if you open yourself up to that and you grow, and it helps you, it helps the other person, and I think that's a really great philosophy.
Thank you. And that's why whenever we talk about a presentation or people that work with us, I always refer to them as our team. Never, this person works for me or this person works under me. It's a team effort.
Always.
I've learned from every member of our team. Hunter Frick, our Chief Marketing Officer on the development side, Matt Leone, our Chief Marketing Officer on the resale and terrace side. I mean, you can learn so much from all these people if you allow yourself to.
That's right.
And if you're open to it. Not everyone has the right answer all the time. That's why we surround ourselves with great people, and collaborate.
Yep, it's a team sport.
It
right?
is, absolutely.
Okay, so last question for you. What do you foresee for give me the next 3 years for new development in Manhattan?
Wow, next 3 years. Well, I think in the short term, for the next year, we'll continue to see inventories reduce, prices stable. I think next year you'll start to see and hear about some new projects coming down the pipeline, some exciting new projects. I think the city is also going through a little bit of an expansion. So, for instance, the Upper West Side development is continuing to inch up from the West 90s to the West early 100s up into Morningside Heights, and then you're going to see things continue all the way up through Inwood, and that's going to be a whole new area of development for the city, which the city needs. I think you're going to see the upper end of the marketplace continue to flourish and grow, and I think you're going to see more demand for high-end properties, which I don't think anyone would have predicted 5 years ago when there was so much high-end property on the market. And I think things will stabilize. I'd actually like to see them grow at a 2 to 3% rate, not at a 5 to 10% rate, because that's when you burn out,
right?
And then all of a sudden you hit the wall. So but I'm incredibly bullish. And there's areas of the city. Astoria is going to go through continued development with an entire Astoria project that Silverstein and Bedrock are working on. Brooklyn still has a lot more expansion to go. So, I'm cautiously optimistic about the future of the new development market, but I would like to see it grow at a reasonable pace and not try to outperform.
And I would love to keep people vested in the city.
Absolutely.
I would love to make sure we have tax legislation that's more responsible so that we don't keep sending people to Florida. I think that will be very helpful as we move into this mayor's race next month and get Eric Adams in as our new mayor, who's going to be, I think, a fabulous mayor for our city.
I agree. I think he'll be a great mayor for the city. He seems to really understand the challenges of the city, and he seems to be the first mayor that I've heard at least speak to not putting all the burden of the city on the real estate industry.
Of course,
and we've been hammered with double-digit increases in real estate taxes over the last 10 years. That's something that has to stop in order for our city to continue to flourish, or else people will leave. So I think that quality projects with a good mayor and a good forecast for the city is something that everyone's looking forward to, and also looking forward to continue to build on infrastructure, which we need to do in order to maintain and grow the city.
It's interesting. Eric Adams meets or talks to one time a week with former Mayor Bloomberg and gets advice from him, and former Mayor Bloomberg is putting money behind him and helping him and supporting him so that he will be successful. And I think with that, I'm betting big time on New York City.
I love it. That sounds terrific.
Yeah.
Well, certainly Bloomberg was a great mayor for us, and if he can help to shepherd the next administration and give them a little guidance and give them the backing that they need,
Yep.
I think they'll be successful.
I agree with you on that. Well, Steve Kliegerman, really, you always share so much good information. I love sitting down with you, and thank you for sitting in on the lead, not the line.
Not the line, Greg. This is Bess's show, not yours.
Thank you, Steve, so much. Have a good day.
Thank you so much.
Thank
You
you.
too. Thanks.